When things break, who pays the price? Let's talk about the world we're living in for a second. You don't have to look too far to see things are broken. Our politics are wild, families are divided, and people are frustrated. All over the country, we've seen tension. There were big rallies held all over the place about 2 weeks ago about housing, race, politics, and the economy. And it doesn't matter what side you're on, you can clearly see that people are exhausted. We can see how the tension has divided this country up, how it has divided communities up, how it has divided families up. So much that it's normal to disagree and divide. It's normal to take our differences, the things that used to bring us together, we now argue about it, and we no longer want to deal with each other because we weren't raised the same. That's what used to make America great. Now, it's what's tearing us apart. It's dividing us, and it's not normal because it's not healthy. And that's why so many people who are exhausted, because they're broken. When things break and stay broken, somebody ends up paying for it. Today, I want to show you how Jesus steps in to change that cycle and how we can step up too. Let's go back to Exodus for a second, to the first Passover night. God says something that hits hard. Do what I tell you, or the firstborn will die. That sounds extreme. But look closer. God wasn't just warning them, he was also providing a way out. He tells them, take a lamb, a perfect lamb, and kill it. Put his blood on your doorpost, and when I see the blood, I'll pass over you. Let that sink in. God wasn't trying to take life. He was giving them a way to save it. The lamb dies so the child doesn't have to. Now let's fast forward. The same God who required a lamb to be sacrificed becomes the lamb. Think about that. In Egypt, the firstborn would die unless the lamb died. At the cross, God sends his firstborn son, Jesus, to be the lamb. He says, I'll take the weight, I'll take the death, I'll bleed so you don't have to. Jesus chooses it. He walks willingly into pain, betrayal, and death, not just to rescue us from Egypt, but to rescue us from our own Egypts, our brokenness, our pride, and our shame. He becomes our Passover lamb once and for all. We don't have to earn God's love. We don't have to pretend we got it all together. We just need to be under the blood of the Lamb. Let's really think about it. When God told the Israelites, if you don't follow my instructions, the firstborn will die, it sounds cruel. But God wasn't being cruel. He was being clear. It's a picture of how serious the cost of disobedience, injustice, and sin is. It's like when we choose pride over peace, someone suffers. When we choose selfishness, someone else has to carry that weight. When systems are unfair, the most vulnerable, or the firstborn, so to speak, suffer the most. Right here in Chico and towns around us, we've seen this in real ways. Our kids are dealing with trauma after school shootings, families displaced by fires, people we walk by every day are in deep pain. It's not because they did something wrong, but because what people around them didn't do right. A while back, I was in a season of life where everything looked good on the outside. I was deep into church. I was working with the youth, imagine that. I was trying to live for Christ the best way that I could. Around that time, I needed a roommate. This guy from church seemed like the perfect fit. He was clean and sober and really trying to grow with God and looking for a place that could help him stay on the right track. I thought this could be a solid match. We're both trying to walk with Jesus. This could be really good. But then life did what life does. It got busy. I wasn't home as much. He wanted to pray and work out. I wanted to play Madden with my friends. He wanted to read the Bible together. and I wanted to relax after work. It wasn't that I didn't care. He wasn't a bad guy. He was a little bit more odd than I remember him at church. But at the end of the day, we were just roommates. One week, he was gone for a few days, and when he came back, it was noticeable that he was on drugs, which led him to trying to fight me, having a standoff with the police for hours after he locked himself into our apartment. He ended up going back to jail. He continued to use drugs, and he ended up homeless. That moment stuck with me and never left me because while I didn't cause his choices, I knew that God placed him in my life for more than just splitting rent. I missed the chance to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and someone paid the price. When we don't show up in love, something breaks. When we don't act in love, something dies. Trust, hope, opportunity. And that's the ouch of the law. It's not just rules, it's a mirror showing us how much we've broken. But God didn't leave us in that place. He doesn't just say, look at what you broke. He says, let me step in and fix it. We read in John 13 that Jesus washes his disciples' feet. He's not just preaching, he's out here serving. He's not just calling us out, he's also cleaning us up. Think about it. The firstborn in Egypt had to die because of brokenness. But later, God sends his own firstborn son, Jesus, and he chooses to die for us. He becomes the lamb. Not just to rescue us from Egypt, but to free us from our own brokenness. He says, unless I wash you, you have no part with me. That means, let me take that mess, let me restore what's broken, and that's the good news. That's the gospel. And someone here needs to hear this. You don't have to carry it anymore. You don't have to be perfect. Jesus already took that weight. And he's going to take your mess and turn it into a message. Jesus doesn't just forgive us, he invites us to live like him. He says, do as I have done for you, not because he wants control, but because he knows that love is the only thing that can heal this world. So it's not about religious behavior. It's about everyday decisions, how we treat people, how we show up, how we respond to tension. Imagine if everyone in Chico was full of people who live like this, not by preaching, but by loving deeper. Imagine if we washed feet instead of winning arguments. Imagine if we forgave quicker and listened longer. Years ago, I did a pretty amazing Christian hip-hop show on KZFR called The Kickback. It went from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. on a Tuesday, and this night, I had a few of my ministry brothers on air with me, and coincidentally, we got into a debate about who the best trash talker was. And they unanimously said it was me. I don't know why. I don't know. But as we wrapped up the show at 1 a.m., as soon as we walked out the studio, there was a guy waiting for me. He said, Josh, a few years ago, you said some things that were wrong, and I need that. I was like, you need what? He said, I need this fight right now. It's 1 a.m. I just finished a radio show. Now, I don't remember what I said, but he remembered, and it cut deep, enough that he stood outside the radio station in the middle of the night to settle it. And I'll be honest, the old me, I might have been ready to fight him and prove myself and my friends that I'm him, and I don't step down from any challenge. But that night I looked down, I had house shoes on. It's not good for a fight. I had a Bible in my hand, and I just spent the last 3 hours talking about Jesus on the radio. When I looked around, I looked at my boys who were watching, and they were ready for whatever. And at that moment, I knew what kind of man I wanted to be. I looked back at him, and I said, I don't remember what I said to you, but I'm sorry. I apologize that I hurt you. I'm not the same man that I used to be. I don't want to fight, but I'm willing to pray with you. And we didn't fight, and I prayed with him. I also reached out to him on social media and told him again, I apologize for whatever I said, and he reached back out and said that he was going through a lot and would appreciate it if I kept continuing to pray with him. And that moment wasn't about fighting and defending myself. It was about who would kneel when pride said to stand tall. That's what Jesus did in John 13. He had all the power in the room, but instead of flexing it, he washed my feet. And that night in my house shoes with a Bible in my hand and my friends watching, I got a small chance to do the same. When things break, someone pays, but Jesus already did. So what are we going to do with that freedom? Will we keep the cycle going, or will you break it with love? Will you just come to church, or will you be the church in the streets, in the schools, in the comment sections, in your own home? Jesus picked up a towel. What are you picking up? Thank you.